The spring afternoon sun cast long shadows across the small playground behind the Nashville shopping center where Tommy Wilson had been sleeping for the past 3 weeks. At 16, Tommy had learned to make himself invisible. He kept his brown hair short with borrowed scissors, his clothes as clean as public restrooms would allow, and he never stayed in one place long enough for anyone to notice. But today, curled up behind a dumpster with his backpack as a pillow, he heard something that made his blood run cold. A little girl's laugh turned into a scream. Tommy sat up quickly, his heart pounding. Through the chain-link fence separating the dumpsters from the playground, he saw 2 large men in dark hoodies grabbing a young girl with blonde pigtails. She could not have been more than 8 years old. Her pink backpack fell to the ground as she struggled against them. "No. Let me go. Daddy," she screamed, her voice piercing the quiet afternoon. Every survival instinct Tommy possessed told him to stay hidden. He had been beaten before for getting involved in things that were not his business. He had scars on his ribs from the last time he tried to help someone. But as he watched the bigger man clamp a hand over the girl's mouth, something inside Tommy snapped. He threw himself over the fence, landing hard on the playground mulch. "Hey, leave her alone," Tommy shouted, running toward them. The men turned, surprised. The taller one, with a scar across his cheek, sneered at Tommy. "Get lost, street rat. This does not concern you." But Tommy did not stop. He crashed into the man holding the girl, knocking him sideways. The little girl broke free and stumbled backward, still screaming. Tommy positioned himself between her and the kidnappers. "Run." Tommy yelled at her. "Run and scream as loud as you can." The girl hesitated for just a second, her blue eyes wide with terror. Then she ran toward the shopping center, her voice carrying across the parking lot. The scarred man's fist connected with Tommy's jaw, and stars exploded across his vision. He tasted blood. The second man, shorter but built like a truck, grabbed Tommy from behind, wrapping thick arms around his chest. "You just made the biggest mistake of your life, kid," the scarred man growled. Tommy struggled, but the man holding him was too strong. A punch to his stomach drove the air from his lungs. Another blow caught his eye. Tommy's knees buckled, but the shorter man held him upright while the scarred man continued hitting him. Tommy's ribs screamed with pain. Blood ran down his face from a cut above his eyebrow. In the distance, Tommy heard shouting. Adult voices. The men heard it too. "We got to go," the shorter man said, releasing Tommy. Tommy collapsed to the ground, gasping for air. Through his swelling eye, he watched the 2 men sprint toward a dark van parked at the far end of the lot. People were running toward the playground now. A woman in a store uniform. A man with a phone pressed to his ear. Tommy tried to sit up, but his body would not cooperate. Everything hurt. His vision blurred at the edges. "Someone call 911, the woman shouted, kneeling beside him. "Sweetie, can you hear me? Stay with us." Tommy's last conscious thought before darkness claimed him was simple. The little girl got away. That was all that mattered. His own pain was nothing compared to what could have happened to her. As sirens wailed in the distance, Tommy let himself sink into the blackness, knowing he had done the right thing, even if it cost him everything. Have you ever witnessed someone sacrifice everything to save a stranger? What would you do in Tommy's situation? Subscribe and comment your thoughts below, because this story of courage is just beginning. Jack Morrison's phone rang while he was 40 miles outside Nashville, riding home from a motorcycle club meeting with 6 other members of Iron Ridge. The moment he heard his wife Beth's voice, trembling and urgent, his blood turned to ice. "Jack, someone tried to take Katie. She's okay, but you need to get to Riverside Shopping Center now. There's a boy, Jack, a homeless boy who saved her. He is hurt bad." Jack did not remember the ride back to Nashville. His mind could focus on nothing except his daughter's name. When he pulled into the shopping center parking lot, police cars and an ambulance filled the scene. He abandoned his bike and ran toward the crowd gathered near the playground. Beth stood there holding Katie, who was crying into her mother's shoulder. Jack wrapped his arms around both of them, his hands shaking. "Are you hurt? Did they touch you?" "Daddy, the boy saved me," Katie sobbed. "He got hurt because of me. They hit him so many times. It was so scary." Jack looked toward the ambulance where paramedics were loading a stretcher. He caught a glimpse of a thin teenager with a swollen, bloody face and torn clothes. Officer Rachel Turner, whom Jack knew from various community events, approached him with a notebook. "Mr. Morrison, your daughter is extremely lucky," Officer Turner said. "That young man over there saw what was happening and intervened. He took quite a beating, but he gave Katie time to escape and alert people. We're transporting him to Nashville General now." "Who is he?" Jack asked, watching the ambulance doors close. "His name is Tommy Wilson. He's 16, and according to witnesses, he's been living rough around this area for a few weeks. No family we can find yet. No emergency contacts." Officer Turner's expression softened. He knew he could not win that fight, Mr. Morrison. He did it anyway. Jack felt something crack open inside his chest. This boy, this homeless kid with nothing, had put his body between kidnappers and Katie without hesitation. While Jack had been riding with his brothers, talking about bike maintenance and weekend plans, a stranger had been willing to die for his daughter. "I need to see him," Jack said. At Nashville General Hospital, Jack waited outside the emergency room for 2 hours while doctors treated Tommy. Beth had taken Katie home, but Jack could not leave. He paced the hallway, his leather vest drawing curious looks from other visitors. His phone buzzed with messages from his club brothers, all offering support. Finally, a doctor emerged. "Are you here for Tommy Wilson?" "Yes." "How is he?" "Bruised ribs, facial lacerations, mild concussion. He will recover fully, but he needs rest." "Are you family?" "No, but he saved my daughter's life today. Can I see him?" The doctor hesitated, then nodded. "Room 247. He is awake but groggy." "And Mr. Morrison?" "That boy has no insurance, no address, nothing. He tried to refuse treatment." Jack's jaw tightened. He made his way to room 247 and knocked softly before entering. Tommy lay in the hospital bed, his face a mess of bruises and bandages. One eye was swollen shut. When he saw Jack, he tried to sit up straighter. "You don't need to do that," Jack said, pulling a chair close to the bed. "I'm Jack Morrison, Katie's dad." Tommy's good eye widened. "Is she okay? Did they catch those guys?" "She's home safe because of you. Police are looking for the men right now." Jack leaned forward. "Tommy, what you did today, that kind of courage is rare. You could have been killed." Tommy shrugged, then winced at the movement. "Couldn't just watch. She's just a little kid." "Where's your family? Parents? Anyone we can call?" "Dead. Been on my own for 2 years. It is fine. I'm used to it." The casual way Tommy said it, like being alone at 16 was normal, hit Jack hard. "What happens when they discharge you?" "I will figure it out. Always do." Jack made a decision in that moment, one he knew would change everything. "No. You are coming home with me. My wife and I talked about it. We have a guest room. You are staying with us until you heal up, and then we will figure out what comes next." Tommy's expression shifted from confusion to disbelief. "You do not have to do that. I did not save Katie for a reward." "I know you did not. That is exactly why I'm doing it." Jack stood. "My daughter is alive because you were brave enough to stand up when no one else would. Let me return that kindness. Please." Tommy's good eye filled with tears that he tried to blink away. "Okay," he whispered. "Thank you." Jack nodded, his own throat tight. "Get some rest. I will be back tomorrow with clothes and everything you need. And Tommy, welcome to the family." The Morrison house sat on a quiet street in East Nashville, a 2-story brick home with a front porch and flower beds that Beth tended every weekend. When Jack pulled his truck into the driveway 3 days later with Tommy in the passenger seat, Beth and Katie were waiting by the front door. Tommy clutched the small bag of belongings the hospital had given him, his movements still careful because of his healing ribs. The bruises on his face had turned purple and yellow. He felt deeply out of place, like he was intruding on something precious. Beth came down the porch steps, her red hair catching the morning sunlight. She had warm brown eyes and a smile that reminded Tommy of the mothers he used to see in the park, back when he still went to school. "Tommy, I'm so glad you're here. Come inside. Katie has been asking about you nonstop." Katie appeared behind her mother, clutching a stuffed bear. She looked much smaller than she had at the playground, more fragile. When she saw Tommy, her face lit up. "You are okay. Mommy said you got hurt really bad." "I'm okay now," Tommy said, managing a small smile despite the ache in his jaw. "I made you a card," Katie said, thrusting forward a piece of construction paper covered in crayon drawings of hearts and stars. In careful letters, she had written, "Thank you for saving me. You are my hero. Love, Katie." Tommy took the card with shaking hands. No one had ever called him a hero before. No one had ever made him anything before. "Thank you," he said quietly. "I will keep this forever." Beth led them inside, to a living room filled with comfortable furniture, family photos on the walls, and warm afternoon light streaming through the windows. Everything was clean and smelled like vanilla candles. Tommy felt painfully aware of how he looked, how he probably smelled despite the hospital shower, how wrung he was for this space. "Let me show you your room," Jack said, guiding Tommy upstairs. The guest bedroom was larger than any place Tommy had slept in 2 years. It had a real bed with a blue comforter, a desk by the window, a dresser, and even posters on the walls showing motorcycles and mountain landscapes. On the bed lay new clothes still in shopping bags. "Beth went shopping yesterday," Jack explained. "Jeans, shirts, shoes. She guessed on sizes but kept the receipts if anything does not fit." Tommy stared at the clothes, then at the room, then at Jack. "Why are you doing this? You do not even know me." Jack sat on the edge of the bed and gestured for Tommy to sit in the desk chair. 2 years ago, my brother Danny got into some trouble. Drugs, bad choices. He lost everything and ended up on the streets for 6 months. I tried to help him, but he would not let me. He was too proud, too ashamed. Finally, a stranger at a shelter convinced him to accept help, to let people care about him. That stranger saved Danny's life. Jack's voice grew thick with emotion. "Danny is 2 years sober now. He works at a construction company and volunteers at that same shelter. All because one person showed him kindness when he thought he did not deserve it. You saved my daughter, Tommy. But even if you had not, you would still deserve kindness. You would still deserve a home." Tommy's chest felt tight. He had trained himself not to cry, not to show weakness, but sitting in this room with new clothes and a real bed and a man who looked at him like he mattered, Tommy could not hold it back. Tears spilled down his cheeks, and he covered his face with his hands. "I have not had a home since I was 14, Tommy choked out. "I have not had anyone who cared if I lived or died. I do not know how to do this." Jack moved to kneel in front of Tommy, his hands on the boy's shoulders. "You do not have to know. We will figure it out together. All you have to do is be here, and let yourself be cared for. Can you do that?" Tommy nodded, unable to speak. "Good. Now, Beth is making her famous chicken and dumplings for dinner. Katie wants to show you her room and approximately 700 drawings. And tomorrow, we are going to the clinic to make sure those ribs are healing right. You are not a guest here, Tommy. You are family now. Understand?" "Yes, sir," Tommy managed. "Just Jack is fine." He stood and headed toward the door. "Oh, and the bathroom is across the hall. Take a real shower. Use all the hot water you want. There are towels in the cabinet. We eat at 6. After Jack left, Tommy sat alone in his new room for a long time, touching the soft comforter, looking at the clothes, staring at Katie's card. For the first time in years, he let himself hope that maybe, just maybe, his life could be different. That maybe kindness was real. That maybe he did not have to be alone anymore. Downstairs, he heard laughter. Katie's voice and Beth's, mixing with Jack's deeper tones. The sound of a family. And now, impossibly, he was part of it. Tommy pulled on clean clothes from the shopping bags, wincing as he stretched his bruised ribs. When he looked in the mirror, he barely recognized himself. Beneath the fading bruises, he saw something he had not seen in 2 years. He saw someone who mattered. Officer Rachel Turner sat across from Tommy in the Morrison living room, her notebook open on her lap. It had been 5 days since the attempted kidnapping, and Tommy's face was healing well. The swelling had gone down enough that both eyes were open, though colorful bruises still marked his cheekbones and jaw. "Tommy, I know this is difficult, but I need you to walk me through everything you saw that day," Rachel said gently. every detail could help us find these men. Tommy nodded, his hands clasped together. Beth sat beside him on the couch, offering silent support. I was behind the dumpsters when I heard Katie scream. When I looked through the fence, 2 men were grabbing her. The taller one had a scar, like this. Tommy traced a line across his left cheek. It was old and white. The shorter one was built heavy, like he lifted weights. He wore a gray hoodie with something written on it, but I could not read it in the struggle. Rachel wrote quickly. You said they had a van. Did you see a license plate? Partial. It started with Tennessee plates, letters FK something. Dark blue van, maybe a Dodge. There was a dent on the passenger side near the door. That is excellent detail, Tommy. You have a good memory. I've had to, Tommy said quietly. On the streets, you remember faces, cars, places. It keeps you safe. Rachel's phone buzzed. She glanced at the screen, and her expression shifted. I need to take this. Excuse me. She stepped into the kitchen, and Tommy heard her voice through the doorway, urgent and focused. When she returned, her face was serious but determined. Tommy, the information you just gave me matched a vehicle that was spotted near a warehouse on the outskirts of Nashville. We have officers moving on it now. She looked at Jack, who had just come in from the garage. The good news is we have a solid lead. The bad news is this appears to be more complicated than a random kidnapping attempt. Jack's jaw tightened. What do you mean? My colleagues discovered that Katie's uncle, your wife's brother, has been in a custody battle over his own daughter for the past year. He lost. We found communications suggesting he hired these men to take Katie as leverage, threatening to harm her unless his ex-wife dropped the custody case. Beth gasped, her hand covering her mouth. Chris? My own brother would hurt Katie. He claimed he just wanted to scare you, make you pressure his ex-wife. But hiring kidnappers puts him in serious criminal territory. Rachel's voice was firm. We are bringing him in for questioning along with the 2 men. Tommy's testimony will be crucial. Over the next week, Tommy found himself at the center of a legal whirlwind. He gave statements to detectives, identified the 2 men in photo lineups, and described the attack in detail to prosecutors. Every time he recounted the story, he saw Katie's terrified face in his mind, and his resolve to see justice done strengthened. The local news picked up the story. Homeless teen hero saves 8-year-old from kidnappers ran as the headline on multiple channels. Reporters wanted interviews. The phone at the Morrison house rang constantly. Jack shielded Tommy for most of it, but one interview with Nashville News Channel 4 felt right. The reporter, a kind woman named Jennifer Hayes, asked thoughtful questions and never made Tommy feel like a spectacle. What made you decide to intervene? Jennifer asked, her camera operator filming from a respectful distance in the Morrisons' backyard. I could not help, Tommy said simply. Katie was scared and in danger. It did not matter what happened to me. She needed someone. You've experienced homelessness at such a young age. How has the Morrison family's response affected you? Tommy glanced at Jack and Beth, who stood nearby. They showed me that good people exist. That kindness is real. I thought I had to handle everything alone, but they taught me that accepting help is not weakness. It is human. The interview aired that evening. By the next morning, the Morrisons' phone was ringing with calls from people wanting to help. A local clothing store offered to provide Tommy with a full wardrobe. Nashville Central Community College sent information about their youth programs. The owner of a bike shop wanted to give Tommy a bicycle. Most touching was an envelope that arrived with no return address, containing $500 and a simple note. Thank you for reminding us what courage looks like. God bless you. Tommy stared at the money, overwhelmed. I cannot take this. You can, and you will, Beth said firmly. People want to do something good. Let them. You gave Katie her life back. Let the community show their gratitude. The day the arrests were made, Rachel called with the news. All 3 men had been charged. Katie's uncle faced conspiracy to commit kidnapping. The 2 attackers faced attempted kidnapping, assault, and other charges. With Tommy's testimony and security footage from the shopping center, the prosecutor was confident in conviction. You did good, Tommy, Rachel said over the phone. Because you were brave enough to act and smart enough to remember details. Those men will not hurt anyone else. That night, the Morrison family sat together at dinner. Katie reached across the table to hold Tommy's hand. "You are my hero," she said for the 100th time. Tommy squeezed her hand gently. "You are pretty brave too, Katie. You ran and screamed for help. That was smart." "We make a good team," Katie declared. Jack raised his glass of iced tea. "To Tommy, who showed us all what it means to be truly brave. And to second chances." Everyone clinked glasses, even Katie with her cup of juice. Tommy felt warmth spread through his chest, a feeling he was learning to recognize as belonging, as hope, as family. On Saturday morning, Jack told Tommy to dress casual but sturdy. "We are going to meet some people who are important to me," he said. "They have been asking about you." They drove to the north side of Nashville, pulling into a lot behind a building with a painted sign reading Iron Ridge Motorcycle Club. A dozen motorcycles sat in neat rows outside. Through the windows, Tommy could see men moving around inside. Tommy's stomach tightened. He had seen motorcycle clubs before, had learned to avoid them on the streets. Groups of large men in leather were not typically safe for homeless kids. But Jack seemed to sense his anxiety. "These are good men, Tommy. They are my brothers. They have rough edges, but their hearts are solid. Trust me." Inside, the clubhouse was surprisingly clean and organized. A long bar ran along one wall, pool tables occupied the back, and various motorcycle memorabilia decorated the space. 7 men stood as Jack and Tommy entered, all wearing leather vests with the Iron Ridge patch. "Brothers, this is Tommy Morrison," Jack announced, and Tommy noticed the last name change that Jack had started using. "Tommy, these are my brothers in Iron Ridge." A tall man with a gray beard stepped forward first. "Danny Cooper," he said, extending his hand. "I have been waiting to meet you, kid. What you did took guts." Tommy shook his hand, surprised by the gentleness in the grip. "Thank you, sir." "No sir needed. Just Danny." He gestured to the others. "That is Marcus, Pete, Ryan, Tom, Bobby, and Sam. We heard about what you did for Katie. We wanted to show our respect." Marcus, a man with arms covered in tattoos, spoke next. "We also heard about your situation before Jack took you in. Some of us have been where you are, Danny especially." Danny nodded. "I was homeless for 6 months, 3 years ago. Lived behind a grocery store, ate from dumpsters, the whole thing. These brothers pulled me out of that hole, gave me a job, got me sober, and showed me I was worth saving." He looked at Tommy intently. "You understand what I'm saying? You are not alone in what you have been through." Tommy felt something loosen in his chest. "You were homeless. Rock bottom homeless. Lost my job, lost my apartment, lost my self-respect. I thought I was done. But Jack here would not let me quit." Danny's voice grew thick. "He is good at not letting people quit on themselves." Pete, a shorter man with kind eyes, stepped forward. "We want to do something for you, Tommy, and for other kids out there like you were. We are planning a fundraiser, a charity ride and cookout. All the money goes to helping homeless youth in Nashville. We want you to be part of it. Help us plan it." "Why?" Tommy asked, overwhelmed. "Because you represent something we all believe in," Sam said. He was younger than the others, maybe 30. "You put yourself in danger for someone else, someone you did not even know. That is what brotherhood is about. That is what community is about. You lived it before you even knew what it meant." Over the next few hours, the men talked with Tommy about their own stories, their struggles, their redemptions. They asked about his life, and Tommy found himself opening up in ways he had not expected. They did not judge him for being homeless. They did not look at him with pity. They saw him as someone who had survived something hard and come out strong. Ryan, who owned a construction company, offered Tommy a summer job. "It is hard work, but it pays fair, if you are interested." "I do not know anything about construction," Tommy admitted. "We will teach you. Everyone starts some way." Bobby, who ran a small restaurant, made the same offer. "I could use help in the kitchen. Weekends, after school. We will work around your schedule." Tommy looked at Jack, unsure. Jack smiled. Your choice, Tommy. No pressure. I would like to try construction, Tommy said slowly. If the offer is real. It is real, Ryan assured him. We take care of our own. And you are one of ours now. Danny pulled out a sketchbook and opened it to a page showing a planned route through Nashville. For the charity ride, we are thinking we'll start here at the clubhouse, ride through downtown, end at Riverside Park, where we will have food, music, and a donation booth. We are calling it the Courage Ride. In your honor. In my honor. Tommy's voice cracked. You showed courage when it mattered most, Danny said. We want to honor that and help other kids who need what you needed. A chance. Help. Hope. Marcus added, we have already talked to the Nashville Rescue Mission. They are on board to receive the funds. We have local businesses donating food and supplies. This is going to be big, Tommy. For the rest of the afternoon, Tommy sat with these men, planning the event, listening to their ideas, contributing his own thoughts. They treated him like an equal, like his opinion mattered. When it was time to leave, Danny walked them to Jack's truck. Tommy, can I tell you something? Danny asked, his hand on Tommy's shoulder. When I was at my lowest, I did not think I deserved help. I thought I had made too many mistakes, gone too far down. But someone looked at me and saw worth anyway. They saw potential. That changed everything. He squeezed Tommy's shoulder gently. Jack and Beth, they see that in you. These brothers, we see it too. You are going to do great things, kid. You already started. Just keep showing up, keep being you. The rest will follow. Tommy nodded, his throat too tight to speak. On the drive home, Jack said, what do you think? I think I have been alone for so long, I forgot what it felt like to have people in your corner. You are not alone anymore, son. You have a whole family now. Blood family and chosen family. That is what Iron Ridge is about. That is what we do. Tommy looked out the window at Nashville passing by, a city that had once been a place of survival and now was becoming a place of belonging. Thank you, he whispered. For all of this. For believing I was worth it. You have always been worth it, Tommy. You just needed someone to show you. Monday morning arrived with a knot in Tommy's stomach. Beth drove him to Nashville Central High School, a large brick building with wide front steps and groups of students gathered on the lawn. Tommy had not been inside a school in over 2 years. He wore new jeans and a blue shirt, his backpack containing fresh notebooks and pens. You are going to do great, Beth said, sensing his nervousness. Principal Stevens is expecting you. He knows your situation. Inside the main office, Principal Richard Stevens greeted them warmly. He was a tall man with gray hair and glasses, wearing a tie decorated with small books. Tommy Morrison, I have been looking forward to meeting you. Your story has reached all of us, eh? Thank you, sir, Tommy said quietly. Principal Stevens led them to his office, where he explained the plan. We have looked at your transcripts from before you left school. You were a solid student, Tommy. Some catching up will be needed, especially in math and science, but I believe you can do it. We have arranged for tutoring 3 afternoons a week with our National Honor Society students. He pulled out a class schedule. We are starting you in sophomore year classes based on your age. English, algebra, biology, world history, and physical education. We also have an art elective available if you are interested. Art. Tommy repeated. Your former teachers noted you had talent in drawing and writing. Art might be a good outlet for you. Something creative. Tommy thought about the notebooks he used to fill with sketches when he still had paper and pencils. I would like that. The first week was overwhelming. Tommy sat in classes where students had been together all year, where they had inside jokes and established friend groups. He felt like an outsider, marked by his story. Everyone knew who he was. The homeless kid who saved a little girl. The kid living with the Morrison family. Some students whispered. Some stared. But others reached out. In English class, a girl named Claire Parker partnered with him on a poetry project. I think what you did was amazing, she said simply. Not everyone would have been that brave. In biology, a boy named Ethan Rodriguez shared his notes when Tommy got confused during a lecture on cellular respiration. This teacher goes fast. I will help you catch up. The tutoring sessions became Tommy's anchor. 3 afternoons a week, he met with honor society students in the library. They did not treat him like a charity case. They treated him like someone worth investing in. Slowly, the information started clicking. Math concepts he had missed began making sense. Science vocabulary became familiar. Art class was his favorite. The teacher, Mrs. Angela Foster, gave him a sketchbook on his first day. Fill this however you want. No rules, no judgment. Just create. Tommy started drawing during lunch periods when he felt overwhelmed by the cafeteria noise. He drew the playground where he had saved Katie. He drew the faces of the Iron Ridge brothers. He drew the view from his new bedroom window, the street where he now lived, the home that was becoming his. Mrs. Foster saw his sketches and pulled him aside one day. "Tommy, you have real talent. Have you ever thought about developing this seriously?" "I used to draw all the time, before," Tommy said. "But I did not think it was important." Art is always important. It is how we process the world, how we tell stories that words cannot tell. She handed him information about a summer art program at the Nashville Arts Academy. "This program is for students who show promise. I would like to recommend you." Tommy stared at the pamphlet, showing photographs of students painting murals and sculpting clay. "I do not know if I am good enough." "You are. And even if you were not, you would become good enough by trying. That is how growth works. You show up, you practice, you improve. You have already proven you know how to show up when it matters." In English, Tommy discovered he loved writing. When Ms. Patricia Lewis assigned personal narratives, Tommy wrote about being homeless. He wrote about fear and hunger and the shame of having nowhere to go. He wrote about learning that accepting help was not weakness. Ms. Lewis read his essay twice, then asked if she could share it with the class. Tommy agreed nervously. When she read it aloud, the room went completely silent. Students who had only seen him as the hero from the news now saw him as a real person with struggles and pain. After class, 3 students approached him separately, sharing their own stories. One girl's family had lost their home the previous year. A boy talked about his father's unemployment. Another girl mentioned her mother's battle with addiction. Tommy realized he was not alone in having faced hardship. "Maybe we could start a group," suggested the girl whose family had been homeless. Her name was Madison Thompson. "For students dealing with tough situations. Just to talk and support each other." A girl named Hannah, maybe 16, spoke up. "But what if there is no one like the Morrisons for me? What if no one wants to help?" "There are people who want to help," Tommy said firmly. "Lisa is here. This mission is here. The Iron Ridge Motorcycle Club runs programs for homeless youth. My high school started a support group. Resources exist, Hannah. But you have to reach out and take them. I almost did not. I almost said no to the Morrisons. That would have been the biggest mistake of my life." Over the following weeks, Tommy built relationships with the teenagers who came through the mission. He learned their stories, their dreams, their fears. He connected them with resources. He encouraged them to accept services, to trust that people could be kind without wanting something in return. One boy, Kevin, reminded Tommy especially of himself. He was 15, had been on the streets for 8 months, and had a defensive anger that pushed people away. Tommy recognized that anger as fear. "You do not have to talk to me," Tommy told Kevin one day. "But I am here if you change your mind. I have been exactly where you are. I know what it feels like." Kevin did not respond that day or the next. But the third week, he sat next to Tommy during lunch. "How did you do it?" Kevin asked quietly. "How did you let people in after being alone so long?" "I realized that being alone was killing me," Tommy said honestly. "Not physically, but inside. I was disappearing piece by piece. When the Morrisons offered me a home, something in me knew I had to choose. Keep disappearing or risk being seen. I chose being seen, and it saved my life." Kevin nodded slowly, processing. "I am scared of getting attached and losing it all again." "Me too. Every single day. But you know what I learned? Even if I lost the Morrisons tomorrow, which I will not, I would still be different now. I would still know that I matter, that I can be loved, that I am capable of more than survival. No one can take that knowledge away." 3 weeks later, Kevin accepted a placement in a group home. Before he left, he found Tommy. "Thank you for not giving up on me." "I will never give up on you," Tommy promised. "You have my number. Call anytime." Do you believe one person can truly make a difference in someone's life? What if you could be that person for someone struggling today? Subscribe and share how you've helped someone or been helped when you needed it most. The Iron Ridge Courage Ride took place on a perfect May morning. Over 100 motorcycles gathered at the clubhouse, their riders wearing leather and carrying donation envelopes. Jack had worked with Tommy to plan every detail. Local businesses donated food. A Nashville radio station promoted the event. The Nashville Rescue Mission set up an information booth. Tommy stood on a small stage at Riverside Park, looking at the crowd of 500 people who had come to support the cause. Katie stood beside him, holding his hand for courage. "My name is Tommy Morrison," he began, his voice amplified through speakers. "6 months ago, I was homeless and hopeless. I thought my life was over at 16. Then something happened that changed everything. I did something brave, yes, but what really changed my life was that people responded with even greater bravery. They loved me when I did not love myself. They believed in me when I had given up. They showed me that kindness is real and powerful." He gestured to the Iron Ridge brothers, standing nearby. "These men, my brothers, organized this event because they believe no kid should have to survive alone on the streets. Because they believe every young person deserves a chance, deserves support, deserves hope." The crowd erupted in applause. When it quieted, Tommy continued. "Today, we raised $23,000 for homeless youth services in Nashville. That money will provide meals, shelter, counseling, job training, and hope. But more than money, we are sending a message. We see you. You matter. You are not alone." Lisa Henderson took the microphone next, thanking everyone and explaining how the funds would be used. Then Danny Cooper spoke about his own journey from homelessness to recovery. The stories led, each one proof that redemption was possible. At the end of the event, a woman approached Tommy. She was young, maybe in her 20s, holding a toddler. "I wanted to thank you," she said. 3 years ago, I was living in my car with my baby. The rescue mission helped me get housing, find a job, get stable. Your story reminded me how important it is to pay that forward. I signed up to volunteer." Tommy felt tears prick his eyes. That means everything. On the drive home, Katie fell asleep in the back seat, exhausted from the excitement. Beth reached over and squeezed Tommy's shoulder. "You should be proud of what you did today." "I am proud of what we all did together," Tommy corrected. "I could not have done any of this alone." "That is the whole point, is not it?" Jack said from the driver's seat. "None of us can do life alone. We need each other. We need community. You learned that the hard way, and now you are teaching others." Tommy looked out the window at Nashville, the city that had once been hostile territory and was now home. He thought about Kevin and Hannah and all the other kids who were still struggling. He thought about the $23,000 that would help them. He thought about how one act of courage had rippled outward into something larger than himself. Maybe that was how change happened. One person showing up. One person caring. One person refusing to let someone else disappear. And then that person inspiring others to do the same, creating waves of kindness that spread farther than anyone could predict. Tommy smiled as sleep began to pull him under. He was not invisible anymore. None of them had to be. 8 months after the playground incident, Jack and Beth sat Tommy down in the living room with serious expressions. Tommy's heart raced. He had learned that serious family meetings could go either way, and his old fears whispered that maybe his time here was ending. "Tommy, we need to talk to you about something important," Jack began. Tommy braced himself, his hands gripping his knees. Beth reached over and took one of his hands. "We love you, Tommy. These past months with you have been some of the best of our lives. Katie adores you. We have become a family, a real family. You are not sending me away, are you?" Tommy asked, his voice small. "No, sweetie," Beth said quickly. "The opposite. We want to make it official. We want to adopt you, if you will let us." Tommy stared at them, unable to process the words. "Adopt me?" Jack pulled out a folder containing legal documents. We have been talking to a family lawyer. Since you are 16 and have no living relatives, the process is straightforward. We want you to be our son legally, permanently. Tommy Morrison, officially. But I am already 16. I will be 18 soon anyway. That is exactly why we want to do this now, Beth explained. We do not want you to age out of the system or feel like you are on your own when you turn 18. We want you to have a family forever, not just until some arbitrary date. We want to be your parents in every way that matters. Tommy felt tears streaming down his face. You really want this? You really want me? We have wanted this since the first week you were here, Jack said, his own voice thick. We were just waiting to make sure you felt the same way, that you were ready. Katie burst into the room then, unable to contain herself any longer. She had clearly been listening from the hallway. Say yes, Tommy. Say yes. Then you will be my real brother forever and ever. Tommy laughed through his tears as Katie threw herself into his lap. He looked at Jack and Beth, at the hope and love in their faces. Yes. I want this. I want to be your son. The adoption process took 2 months. A social worker visited to interview Tommy and assess the home situation. She was a kind woman named Sharon Phillips, who had worked in family services for 20 years. She asked Tommy questions about how he felt, whether he felt safe, whether this was truly what he wanted. I have been on my own since I was 14, Tommy told her. I have survived things that should have broken me. But the Morrisons did not just give me a home. They gave me hope. They showed me what family is supposed to feel like. I want this more than I have ever wanted anything. Sharon smiled. That is clear. I have rarely seen a family bond like yours. The love in this home is genuine. The court date was set for a Thursday in July. Tommy wore the suit that Jack had helped him pick out, navy blue with a crisp white shirt. His hands shook as they walked into the courthouse, but Katie held one hand and Beth held the other. Judge Patricia Foster presided over the hearing. She was in her 50s, with sharp eyes that had seen every kind of family situation imaginable. The courtroom was packed. The entire Iron Ridge Motorcycle Club had shown up, filling 2 rows of benches. Lisa Henderson was there, Principal Stevens, Mrs. Foster from art class, Officer Rachel Turner. Danny Cooper sat in front, grinning. Judge Foster reviewed the paperwork, then looked at Tommy. Mr. Wilson, you understand that adoption means legally becoming the child of Mr. and Mrs. Morrison, that they will have all parental rights and responsibilities, and you will be their son in the eyes of the law. Yes, Your Honor, Tommy said clearly. And this is your choice? No one is pressuring you. This is completely my choice. They saved my life. Now I want them to be my family forever. Judge Foster turned to Jack and Beth. Mr. and Mrs. Morrison, you understand you are taking on responsibility for a teenage boy with no obligation to do so? That you are choosing to make him your son? We understand completely, Beth said. And we could not be happier. We see Tommy as our son already, Jack added. This just makes it official. Judge Foster smiled, the first time her stern expression had softened. In my 26 years on the bench, I have seen many adoption cases. Some are complicated. Some are messy. But every once in a while, I see a case that reminds me why family law matters. This is one of those cases. She picked up her gavel. Based on the evidence before me, the testimony given, and the clear best interests of the child, I am granting this petition for adoption. Tommy Wilson, you are now legally Tommy Morrison, son of Jack and Beth Morrison, brother of Katie Morrison. Congratulations to your family. The gavel came down, and the courtroom erupted in applause. Tommy could not stop crying. Beth pulled him into a hug, then Jack wrapped his arms around both of them. Katie squeezed in, creating a family huddle. I have a son, Jack whispered into Tommy's ear. I have a son. I have a mom and dad, Tommy choked out. I have a family. The Iron Ridge brothers lined up to congratulate him, each offering hugs and handshakes. Danny Cooper had tears running down his face. Proud of you, brother. So proud. Lisa Henderson gave Tommy a long hug. You deserve this, Tommy. Every bit of happiness you have, you deserve. Outside the courthouse, the motorcycle club revved their engines in celebration. the sound echoing off the buildings. Katie rode on Jack's bike with her helmet on, waving like a princess. Tommy rode with Danny, feeling the wind and sun on his face, feeling more alive than ever. At the house, Beth had organized a surprise party. The yard was decorated with balloons and streamers. A banner read, "Welcome home forever, Tommy." Tables held food donated by Bobby's restaurant. Neighbors, school friends, volunteers from the rescue mission, and Iron Ridge families filled the space. Principal Stevens raised a glass of lemonade for a toast. To Tommy Morrison, a young man who has shown us all what courage, resilience, and grace look like. May your future be as bright as your heart. Everyone drank and cheered. Tommy stood with his family, his real forever family, and felt something he had not felt in 3 years. He felt complete. He felt like he had come home after a long, painful journey. That night, after everyone left and the house was quiet, Tommy sat on his bed looking at the official adoption certificate. His name in black ink, Tommy James Morrison, son of Jack William Morrison and Beth Ann Morrison. There was a soft knock on his door. Jack entered and sat beside him on the bed. "How are you feeling, son?" "Like I am dreaming," Tommy admitted. "Like I will wake up behind a dumpster, and none of this will be real." Jack put his arm around Tommy's shoulders. "It is real. You are my son. This is your home. This is your family. Forever means forever, Tommy. There is no going back. There is no giving up. You are ours, and we are yours." Tommy leaned into Jack's shoulder, letting himself be held like the child he had not been allowed to be for so long. "Thank you for choosing me. Thank you for letting us. Thank you for being brave enough to accept love. That takes more courage than fighting kidnappers, you know." "I am learning that," Tommy said softly. They sat in comfortable silence for a while, father and son, chosen family, proof that love could heal even the deepest wounds. Outside, Nashville hummed with life. Inside, Tommy Morrison was finally, truly home. Tommy's 17th birthday arrived on a crisp September morning. He woke to the smell of pancakes and bacon, Beth's weekend breakfast tradition. Downstairs, the kitchen was decorated with blue streamers and a banner reading "Happy Birthday, Tommy." Katie bounced with excitement, barely able to contain herself. Present time. Present time. "Let the boy eat first," Jack laughed, setting a plate of food in front of Tommy. Over breakfast, they talked about Tommy's plans for the day. He had a shift at Ryan's construction company later, but the morning was free. After a year of work, Tommy had saved enough money for his own truck, a used Ford that he was ridiculously proud of. "Okay, presents now," Katie insisted the moment Tommy finished eating. Beth brought out a wrap box containing new art supplies. High-quality sketchbooks, professional pencils, charcoal, pastels. Tommy had been accepted into the Nashville Arts Academy summer program and would start in June. These supplies would last him through the courses. "This is too much," Tommy protested, but Beth shushed him. "You are our son. Let us spoil you a little." Jack handed him an envelope containing registration papers for community college classes. "You said you wanted to start taking some courses next semester. These are paid for. Business management, art, English. Whatever you want to study." Tommy felt overwhelmed by their generosity, but he was learning to accept it with grace. "Thank you. This means everything." Katie wiggled with anticipation. "My turn. My turn." She ran upstairs and returned with a large, handmade scrapbook, its cover decorated with painted hearts and stars. "I made this for you. Mommy helped with some parts, but I did most of it." Tommy opened the scrapbook, and his breath caught. The first page showed a photo of him from the day he moved in, bruised and thin, standing awkwardly in the doorway. Katie had written in careful letters, "Day 1, when Tommy came home." Each page chronicled a moment from the past year. Photos from the Courage Ride. Pictures from his first day at Nashville Central. Drawings Katie had made of their family. Report cards showing Tommy's improving grades. A photo of him with the Hope Circle students at school. But what made Tommy's eyes fill with tears were the letters tucked into clear plastic sleeves throughout the book. Letters from people whose lives Tommy had touched over the past year. "Hannah from the rescue mission. Thank you for showing me that accepting help is not giving up. Because of your story, I reached out for support. I am in a group home now, and back in school. You saved my life by sharing yours. Kevin, you told me I mattered when I did not believe it. I have a job now, and my own apartment. I think about what you said every day. You are my hero. Madison Thompson from the Hope Circle. Our group has helped 30 students this year. It exists because you were brave enough to share your story. Thank you for creating a space where we can be honest about our struggles. Mrs. Foster from Art Class. Watching you blossom as an artist has been one of the highlights of my teaching career. Your work has soul because you have lived deeply. Never stop creating. Danny Cooper, you reminded me why I got sober, why I keep showing up. Seeing you grow has been like watching my own second chance play out. Proud to call you brother. Page after page of letters, each one a testament to how Tommy's story had rippled outward, touching lives in ways he had never realized. Claire, from English class. Ethan, from biology. Officer Rachel Turner. Lisa Henderson. Members of Iron Ridge. Teachers. Neighbors. People from the community fundraiser. The last page held a family photo from last month, all 4 Morrisons at Riverside Park. Underneath, Katie had written, "You are my brother, my hero, and my best friend. I love you forever and ever. Love, Katie." Tommy could not speak. He pressed his hand to his mouth, shoulders shaking with emotion. Beth moved to sit beside him, wrapping an arm around his shoulders. "You have touched so many lives, sweetheart," she said softly. "We wanted you to see the impact you have made. You are not just a boy who got saved. You are someone who keeps saving others." Jack cleared his throat, visibly emotional. "Tommy, Beth and I want to tell you something else. We have been saving money, and we have established a college fund for you. It is not huge, but it is enough for 4 years at a state university or trade school, whatever you choose. Your future is bright, son, and we want to make sure you have every opportunity." Tommy wiped his eyes. "I do not know what I did to deserve you." "You were brave," Katie said simply, climbing into his lap. "You were kind. You helped me. And now you help lots of people. That is why we love you." That afternoon, the Iron Ridge Club surprised Tommy with a small gathering at the clubhouse. They presented him with his own leather vest, the Iron Ridge patch sewn on the back. "Honorary member," Danny explained. "For life. You are family." Tommy tried on the vest, feeling the weight of it, the symbolism. A year ago, he had owned nothing but a backpack and fear. Now he had a family, a home, friends, a future, and a leather vest that proclaimed he belonged to something bigger than himself. "Speech," someone called out, and the others joined in. "Speech." Tommy stood, looking at the men who had become his brothers, his mentors, his friends. "When I was living on the streets, I thought kindness was a fairy tale. I thought people only cared about themselves. You all proved me wrong. You showed me that brotherhood is real, that community matters, that one person choosing to care can change everything." He touched the vest. "I will wear this with honor, and I will keep paying forward what you all gave me, because that is what family does. We lift each other up. We do not let each other fall. We show up." The men clapped and hollered their approval. Ryan promised to teach Tommy to actually ride a motorcycle next summer. Bobby offered to teach him to cook. Sam wanted to bring him along on a camping trip. Each man offering pieces of himself, pieces of knowledge and experience and love. That evening, Tommy sat in his room with Katie's scrapbook open on his lap. He read through every letter again, letting the words sink in. People's lives had been changed because he had chosen courage, because the Morrisons had chosen love, because a community had chosen to show up. He thought about the 16-year-old boy who had fought kidnappers behind a playground, expecting to die alone and unmissed. He thought about how that boy could never have imagined this future, this family, this love. Tommy picked up his sketchbook and began drawing. He drew Katie's face, bright with joy. He drew Jack and Beth, strong and steady. He drew the Iron Ridge brothers in their leather. He drew Hannah and Kevin and Madison, and all the faces of people who had crossed his path this year. In the center of the page, he drew himself. Not the broken, scared boy from the streets. Not the bruised kid in the hospital. But the person he was now. Tommy Morrison. Son. Brother. Artist. Volunteer. Friend. Someone who mattered. Someone who belonged. Someone who was loved. He wrote beneath the drawing in careful letters, "This is who I am now. This is who I was always meant to be. Home." 1 year to the day after the kidnapping attempt, Tommy stood in front of a crowd of 200 people gathered at Riverside Park. The September afternoon was perfect, warm and sunny with a light breeze carrying the scent of food from vendor tents. Banners announcing the Tommy Morrison Foundation inaugural fundraiser fluttered overhead. Tommy's hands shook slightly as he held the microphone, but Beth gave him an encouraging nod from the front row, where she sat with Jack and Katie. The Iron Ridge brothers stood along the side, their leather vests proud in the sunlight. Lisa Henderson, Principal Stevens, Officer Rachel Turner, and dozens of others who had been part of Tommy's journey filled the audience. "Good afternoon, everyone," Tommy began, his voice stronger than he felt. "Thank you for being here. A year ago today, I was a homeless kid living behind a dumpster. I was invisible. I was hopeless. I thought my life was over at 16. He paused, gathering his thoughts. Then something happened that changed everything. Not just the kidnapping attempt, though that started it. What really changed my life was what came after. Jack and Beth Morrison looked at a scared, broken kid and saw someone worth saving. They did not have to. They did not owe me anything. But they chose kindness anyway. They chose love." Tommy gestured to his family. "Because of their choice, I am standing here today with a home, an education, a future, and a mission. The mission is simple. No kid should have to survive alone on the streets. No teenager should feel invisible or worthless. Every young person deserves a second chance." He explained how the foundation came together. Danny Cooper had helped with the legal paperwork. Jack and Beth contributed seed funding. The Iron Ridge Club committed to annual fundraising rides. Local businesses pledged support. The Nashville Rescue Mission partnered to provide services. In our first year, the Tommy Morrison Foundation has helped 50 teenagers find stable housing, Tommy announced, and the crowd erupted in applause. "We have provided job training for 38 young people. We have connected 62 youth with mental health counseling. We have given out 212 backpacks filled with school supplies. We have served 4,300 meals." Tommy's voice grew emotional. But numbers do not tell the whole story. Behind each number is a person. A kid like Kevin, who now has his own apartment and a full-time job. A girl like Hannah, who went back to school and is graduating this year. A boy named Marcus, who reunited with his grandmother after our counselors helped facilitate healing. These are real lives, real futures, real hope. Lisa Henderson took the microphone next, sharing statistics about youth homelessness in Nashville and explaining how foundation funds would be used. Then Danny Cooper spoke about the new program launching in October. "We are calling it the Second Chances Scholarship," Danny announced. This program will provide full college or trade school tuition for up to 10 former homeless youth each year. The first recipient is someone many of you know. Kevin Martinez, where are you? Kevin stood from the audience, looking overwhelmed. He was 18 now, healthy and confident in ways he had not been when Tommy first met him. "I am starting community college in January," Kevin said. "Studying social work. Because Tommy showed me that the best way to thank someone for helping you is to help someone else. I want to do that for the rest of my life." The crowd applauded as Kevin sat down, wiping his eyes. Tommy felt his own throat tighten. This was what it was all about. Not just saving lives, but watching those lives bloom into something beautiful and purposeful. Principal Stevens approached the microphone. "Nashville Central High School is proud to announce a partnership with the Morrison Foundation. We are creating a permanent support program for students experiencing homelessness or housing insecurity. This program will provide immediate assistance with food, clothing, school supplies, and connection to long-term resources. Tommy Morrison has shown us that every student deserves a chance to succeed, regardless of their circumstances." More speakers followed, each highlighting different aspects of the foundation's work. A city councilman praised the community response. A formerly homeless young woman shared her testimony. A business owner explained why his company was committing to hire foundation youth. Finally, Katie took the microphone, needing to stand on a step stool to reach. "My brother Tommy is the bravest person I know," she said in her clear, confident voice. "He saved me that day at the playground. But then he saved lots of other people too. He showed everyone that kindness is powerful, that love is strong, that we should help each other. She looked at Tommy with absolute adoration. I am proud to be his sister. I am proud of our foundation. And I am proud of everyone here who helps. The crowd gave Katie a standing ovation. Tommy lifted her down from the stool and hugged her tight. Thank you, Katie girl. I love you, Tommy, she whispered. I love you too. Jack and Beth joined them, and for a moment, the Morrison family stood together in front of the crowd, a unit forged through unlikely circumstances and strengthened by intentional love. The photographer captured the moment, a photo that would later hang in the foundation office. After the formal program, Tommy worked the crowd, shaking hands and talking with supporters. He met donors who wrote checks. He spoke with volunteers who wanted to help. He embraced former homeless youth who were thriving now. An older woman approached with tears in her eyes. My grandson was homeless for 6 months last year. Your foundation helped him find housing and a job. He is doing so well now. Thank you for existing. Thank you for caring about kids like him. Thank you for letting us help, Tommy replied, meaning it deeply. As the sun began to set, casting golden light across the park, Danny found Tommy standing near the stage, watching people mingle and laugh. Big day, Danny said. Huge day, Tommy agreed. A year ago, I could not have imagined any of this. That is the thing about second chances. They open doors we did not know existed. Danny clapped Tommy on the shoulder. You did good, brother. You took your pain and turned it into purpose. That is Ray. I had a lot of help. We all need help. That is the whole point. You figured that out and then helped others figure it out too. That is the ripple effect of kindness. It just keeps spreading. Tommy thought about the ripples. How Jack and Beth's kindness to him had inspired him to help others, which inspired them to pay it forward, creating waves of compassion spreading through Nashville and beyond. One act of bravery, met with many acts of love, multiplying into community transformation. Jack approached with an envelope. Tommy, there is one more thing. The foundation board, which is me, Beth, Danny, and Lisa, voted on this yesterday. We want you to be the foundation's official youth advocate. It is a paid position, 20 hours a week. You would speak at schools, share your story, coordinate youth programs, and be the face of the foundation. The salary would cover your expenses and give you work experience while you are in school. Tommy stared at the envelope containing the offer letter. You want to pay me to do what I already love doing. Exactly. This is your calling, Tommy. Let us make it official. Yes. Absolutely yes. As the evening wound down and volunteers began cleaning up, Tommy stood with his family, looking at the banners and tents and people. This park, this place where the Courage Ride had happened, was now the site of the foundation's first major event. The circle was complete. Beth hugged him from the side. Your parents would be so proud of you, Tommy. Wherever they are seeing this and smiling. Tommy thought about his both parents, dead for 3 years now. He thought about how much he had lost, how much pain he had endured. But he also thought about what he had gained. A new family. A purpose. A life worth living. I hope they know I am okay now, Tommy said softly. I hope they know I found my way home. They know, Jack assured him. And we are so grateful we got to be part of your journey. Katie grabbed Tommy's hand. Let's go home. I am tired. Tommy smiled at the simple, beautiful words. Yeah, let's go home. They walked to the parking lot together, the Morrison family, whole and healed and hopeful. Tommy looked back once at the park, at the people still gathered, at the foundation banners fluttering in the evening breeze. This was his legacy. Not the moment of violence in a playground, but the years of kindness that followed. Not the beating he endured, but the lives he helped rebuild. Tommy Morrison climbed into his truck, his vest on his shoulders, his family in their vehicles nearby. As he drove through Nashville toward home, he thought about the journey. From invisible to visible. From alone to surrounded. From hopeless to purposeful. From surviving to thriving. The street rat who took a beating to save a stranger's child had become a son, a brother, an advocate, a leader. He had become proof that people could change, that circumstances did not define destiny, that love truly was stronger than fate. And every day, he got to help someone else discover the same truth. That they mattered. That they were seen. That kindness was real. That hope was possible. That home was not just a place, but a feeling, a community, a choice to belong. Tommy pulled into the driveway of the brick house in East Nashville, the porch light glowing yellow in the twilight. Inside, his family waited. His room waited. His future waited. His life, precious and purposeful and fully his, waited. He was home. Finally, completely, eternally home. And the boy who once thought he would die alone and unmissed now knew, without doubt, that he would die surrounded by love, having lived a life that mattered, having touched hundreds of lives with the same kindness that had once rescued him from darkness. The circle was complete, and the ripples would continue forever.